guys, long time no see. That wrestling guy back at you once again. I haven't been on for a while. Let's just say there's been some issues with our joint review, but it's coming. I promise.
They said
Soon. There's been a number of setbacks. You'll hear all about it in the commentary, I'm sure.
probably, yeah.
Anyway, I brought the Otakun over tonight to watch WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which we just finished watching about an hour ago.
We had some battery issues.
Yes, we certainly did. But we're here now, and we're going to tell you about what we thought of this pay-per-view. And if you're wondering why I continuously drag the Otakun over to these shows when he's not a wrestling fan, I like watching other people's stuff. Hence the wrestling.
It's okay, I made him watch School Days. Alright, I made a thing him watch School Days.
I wasn't aware of this, but apparently I am now.
Yes, you are. Your suffering will be sweet.
Alright, well, as everybody who's even remotely a wrestling fan knows, there's only one reason to watch this show. There's only one match people wanted to see. But, we're going to talk about that at the end. I'm cool like that. Alright, so the first match was the SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match, with the winner getting a guaranteed title shot for 1 year. My comrade here didn't actually see this match. He was late. The match participants were Wade Barrett, Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, Kane, Sheamus, Cody Rhodes, Daniel Bryan, and that's it. It was a good match. There were a lot of high-flying moves going around. The winner of the match was Daniel Bryan, which really surprised me because for the last little while he's been losing to everyone, and now he has a guaranteed title shot for 1 year. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It was a good match. Unfortunately, my comrade here can attempt to comment, but he didn't see it, so...
Well, you know, you got a whole bunch of guys up there that, you know, most of them of which haven't had really a whole lot of spotlight.
No.
You got, like, from what you could say, like, from what I can tell, because, you know, I'm not a wrestling fan, you know Kane, you know, and, you know, Sheamus and stuff is coming up, and he's big and stuff like that, but honestly, at the same time, who can you give it to in that group besides?
Daniel Bryan.
Exactly.
Which was pleasantly surprising for me. He's a good wrestler, and yeah, wrestler. And he deserved it, so no complaints from me. The next match was so astronomically boring that I actually walked out on it. And if you're a wrestling fan at all, that should not happen. The next match was between Mark Henry and The Big Show, and that would be around the time my comrade here arrived.
Yeah, that's when I got here.
And, well, he sat down for about 2 seconds, and then we got up. We went on a chip run.
Honestly, you know, when it comes to that, I mean, it's pretty much just a show of spectacle. Let's get the two biggest guys we can, we'll put them in a ring, we'll have them kind of hug each other for a little bit.
Yeah.
And in the end, Mark Henry won.
Yeah,
so...
I mean, I like The Big Show, don't get me wrong. I mean, he can be a good wrestler to watch, but Mark Henry has been around for 15 years now. He's never been any good. So what would make me think that now that he's 15 years older, he'll be any better?
However, it did go against what I had called. I kind of called that The Big Show would win that one, but of course, in my experience, The Big Show has only wrestled people who come up to about here on him, so...
Yeah, I'm sure it was okay, but I mean, I didn't care. I didn't care, and I'm the one walking around with a belt everywhere I go.
But that should say something to you.
Yeah, it really should. There was also, oh, I forgot about this. There was a Divas Championship match.
Oh, okay, we can forget about that.
Generic Bimbo won, and her twin sister versus Blonde Bimbo, who won the title 5 years too late. Slut won with her little rocker dropper move and retained the title against one of the Bellas. Who cares? I don't. Next. Comments?
None.
Next.
I like green. The green costumes were nice. Fun.
You have at least one compliment, right? That's
There
pretty
you
much
go.
it.
Yeah.
The division has been dead since Trish Stratus and Lita left, in my view. Anyway,
Never made any mind.
after that was the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match between Alberto Del Rio, R-Truth, Alex Riley, The Miz, Kofi Kingston, I forget. No, I said him already.
You did?
Yes,
I
I did.
did.
Who am I forgetting?
Right?
Oh, and Rey Mysterio, yes. This match was actually pretty good.
Well,
Ladder matches as a whole are kind of hard to screw up because all anyone really wants to see is someone getting hurt. And there were a couple of botches in this match that led me to believe that somebody was hurt. Miz fell off the ladder at one point and landed directly on his knee, and I think he blew it out.
but do you think that might have been
It could have been
I
planned,
don't know.
but
It could have been
I
planned.
mean, he did come back.
Yeah.
He came back and then got powerbombed off the ladder after that. So,
But then the one part where Alberto threw Ray onto the other ladder, which, by the way, was the ladder they tried to kick off stage.
yes, and it didn't work.
It didn't work. And so he lands on that ladder, and he's kind of teeter-tottering for a second, and then just kind of knocks it down like a big domino thing, and Alberto and everybody just goes...
It probably would have worked better if Ray was looking, but Alberto took his mask off, so he was doing this, and he couldn't see, and so what I think happened is he pushed it the wrong way,
Yeah.
and then they all fell. And Del Rio was supposed to win. Oh, spoiler. Del Rio was supposed to climb the ladder and win, so we had to put the ladder in place and run up and get it afterward. And he did win. Alberto Del Rio won the Raw Money in the Bank ladder.
Yeah.
The other spot that stood out to me was the one with Kofi Kingston and Jack Swagger, I think it was, where Kofi fell off the ladder and landed on Jack's neck with his leg.
Pretty impressive moment.
There was a cool move where Kofi managed to knock 6 guys off the ladder by himself, including a nice little kick between 2 ladders.
There was a couple nice moments actually where they were all off the stage.
Yes, on the stage.
Yeah, where they were all down on the mat, and Kofi and Ray come flying off the top corners and knocks them all down. And then what's his name?
Oh, Bourne, Evan Bourne.
Yeah, Evan Bourne flies up the top of the highest ladder on all of them.
With a shooting star press, that was impressive.
That was quite nice.
I thought he was going to get hurt. He was actually probably the only person that didn't get hurt in that match.
You can probably expect to see a picture of him flying upside down all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
All over the place.
It was a good match. I don't have any complaints. It was a good match.
It was alright.
I mean, Alberto Del Rio would not have been my choice to win, but I mean, he's not terrible either, so. Personally, I thought it was R-Truth's time. I'm really digging his insane little Jimmy character thing he's got going on now. I like it. Anyway, apparently Vince doesn't, so.
I couldn't comment really. When it comes to this, like I said, I'm not a huge fan, but from what I do know, they kept going on about how it was Ray's first time, so no wonder he was there. He was like right there at the end, and they were expecting him to win, but then here comes Alberto, who was being picked on in the beginning. So
yeah, that was something. They all kind of tried to hit him with a ladder, and they sandwiched him in, but there were so many of them, they were actually hitting each other.
it was kind of funny.
All right, so after that, there were only about 5 matches on the card because of the 2 8-man ladder matches. The other match after that was Randy Orton versus Christian for the World Heavyweight title. This match started well, but got cripplingly boring in the middle, to the point where I actually thought my 2 guests were just going to leave, because they really slowed down the pace in the middle. You have anything to say about that?
I actually don't remember what happened, so if that's an indication of how bad it was, then yeah. I can't even remember who won.
Captivating television. Then they had a hot finish. They were going really, really well.
Oh, right, now I remember
And what happened was Christian hit his finisher and pinned Randy, but Randy kicked out. So Randy backed Christian up into a corner, and when he got up, he spit in his face. And before the match, it was decreed that if Randy Orton gets disqualified in this match, he will lose the title. So he started punching the crap out of Christian, and the ref told him to get off, and he did. And when Christian got back up, he kicked him in the balls.
And
that was a disqualification, and Christian became the new World Heavyweight Champion.
kind of like,
Afterwards, Randy went completely insane and beat the ever-loving crap out of Christian, giving him 3 RKOs on the table that did not break.
that was funny as hell.
The 3 times that they did it.
He kept trying. You gotta give him props for keeping trying.
What happened was he would do it, and then he would leave, and the fans would cheer for him, and then he'd come back and do it again. I will say this, Christian got a beating that night. I mean, he won the title, and I'm glad. I like Christian. I think he's a good wrestler. And I'm always glad when they take the belts off the Golden Children and give someone else a try. I'm never against that. Change is good, if done right. The question is, where do they go from here? Christian won, but he still got beaten to a pulp afterwards, so doesn't really make him look strong. As a matter of fact, when he lost, Christian was being helped out by 2 referees, and I thought someone was going to come in and cash on him. Would have made sense. He was helpless.
Yep.
But they didn't. He just left. And then after that, the match everyone wanted to see, the reason this pay-per-view happened, Chicago, Illinois' own CM Punk challenging John Cena for the WWE Championship. I'm going to let him go first because he's more of a casual fan than me.
So yeah, a lot of build-up, a lot of things that were said by CM, which they showed in the promo, which I'm actually kind of surprised that they even allowed to, like, I know that he was like, oh yeah, I'm quitting, this is it, right? So yeah, he pretty much was like, okay, I can say whatever I want as long as they'll give me the microphone. So I was kind of surprised when they showed some of that stuff, and it was like, wow, he actually said that. He said that? So when that being said, right from the beginning, I could tell there was no way they were going to let him lose. There was no way they were going to let it happen. Hometown, you know,
He got
the end of his career, right?
he got
So-
the biggest ovation I think I've ever heard for a heel in their. When he came out, it was like Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin came out at the same time. This guy could not do a move wrong if he tried.
And since beginning to watch wrestling since the last time, like what has it been, 2 years since I started watching wrestling?
How about
again?
that? Yeah, probably.
I have never heard anything like that before, where every hit was a cheer from CM and every hit was just boos for Cena. I
My-
thought that was hilarious.
My God, Cena was getting booed out of the building.
So I thought it was a good match. Like they did. It was like 40 minutes long.
35, 40. It was
Oh,
long.
It dragged for a lot. It dragged a bit in the middle, in my opinion. There was a point where I actually turned to him like, why is it taking so fucking long? But like,
There were a lot of headlocks in the middle.
I was
Personally, I think that's because they were trying to decide what spots they were going to do later.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I'm going to go close and you do your thing. But anyway, the ending picked up. As a matter of fact, I think CM Punk actually kicked out of 3 FUs in a row. And he got put in the submission. He got put in the submission about 2 or 3 times, and he got out every time. So it was impressive. They gave Punk a lot. Like, they made him look strong. Cena looked strong, too, don't get me wrong. He was battering Punk from pillar to post. He kicked out of all of Punk's moves as well. Unfortunately, I have to talk about the ending, and this is going to get me some hate, but I have to say this. At the end of the match, Vince McMahon comes out with John Laurinaitis. And if you're not, even if you are a wrestling fan, chances are you don't know who John Laurinaitis is. I know who he is because I'm a huge wrestling nerd, hence the plastic belt. But John Laurinaitis is the head of talent relations. Basically, it's his job to hire and fire all the various wrestlers for the WWE. So what they're trying to tell you is that it's his fault that CM Punk didn't re-sign with the WWE, because after tonight, he's leaving. Here's the problem with this. This is actually happening. CM Punk actually is leaving the WWE. He's leaving. But the problem is they're making it a storyline, and so now no one believes it. No one actually believes that CM Punk is going to leave, or that John Laurinaitis and Vince actually have a problem with CM Punk when they really do. The problem is when you meld reality with fantasy is that most fans can't tell them apart. And so they think it's just a story. But it's not a story. This is actually occurring. So what happens is Vince McMahon comes out, and John Cena puts CM Punk in his STFU. And Vince sends Laurinaitis down to ring the bell, and they're trying to once again recreate the Montreal Screwjob with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. That, by the way, took place in November of 1997. It's a while ago. I'm willing to bet most of the fans in the audience don't know about that, or if they do, they didn't see it live. Anyway, he puts him in the STFU, and Laurinaitis runs down to tell the guy to ring the bell, but Cena lets go of the hold, runs outside, and clotheslines Laurinaitis on the floor. Now, Laurinaitis used to be a wrestler, so he took the shot quite well. And he goes to Vince and he tells him that he's not going to win that way. If he's going to beat him, he's going to beat him fair and square. So he gets in the ring, and then CM Punk immediately hits him with the go to sleep and wins. CM Punk won the WWE Championship from John Cena tonight, completing the Triple Crown of world title, the ECW, the world title, and now the WWE title. And the storyline now is that CM Punk is taking the WWE title and he's leaving. After the match, Vince runs to the headset and tells him to bring Del Rio out to cash in his Money in the Bank, and he does. Del Rio runs out and gets kicked in the head immediately and knocked out. Way to make your new star look like a threat, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
One kick, done. And then he runs through the crowd and leaves, and that's how the show goes off the air. It was a really good match, don't get me wrong, but and I'm glad CM Punk, I don't like Cena. I mean, I used to say it on that, but I don't hate him. I just think that he needs to really overhaul his character, because I think it's run out of steam. I really think he should be a heel, and most people don't agree with me, but I really do. I think a heel run is in order for this guy to revitalize his character. The fans don't like him anyway, so why not build on him?
I disagree. I think that a heel run is not a good idea, but I do agree that it needs a revamp, and I think now is a good time. See, Vince McMahon went in that whole, if you don't defeat Punk thing, you're fired, which they showed in the promo. Well, okay, I think they can work on that. See, now that Cena's done this whole fall from grace kind of thing, you can totally build on the fact that now he needs to build himself back up.
Yeah.
And, now he needs to be seen as the underdog again.
You can do it. It'll take a while, and Cena has to be willing to fight undercard guys in like opening matches for a while. But
And lose a couple.
I think that'd be necessary. I think it would work.
Yeah.
You know what you could also do is he got fired, right? So why not send him to SmackDown? Because, they're different brands, like Team Jacob and Team Edward.
We're not going there.
By the way, you'll never in your life hear a guy say that Raw is better than SmackDown or SmackDown is better than Raw, because it's all WWE. Nobody cares. Nobody actually thinks that they're fighting each other. Like, they like to tell you they're fighting each other, but they're not really. Like, does anybody really think that Randy Orton as champion is any better or any worse than John Cena as champion on Raw? It's all WWE. It's the same. It's just they have 2 shows now, and each show needs to have their champion so that they can sell twice as many house shows when they're out there. So, and that's my... I could go into a whole rant about the brand split, but I'm not going to bother.
You can do that later.
But anyway, I just wanted to give our thoughts on Money in the Bank. All in all, I thought it was a good show.
Where do you think the future is going?
Well, CM Punk is gone, so what I think they should do is hold a tournament to crown a new champion, get rid of the awful, awful WWE title design that they have, the stupid spinning thing. Yeah, that needs to go. And have a tournament for the wrestlers, and then in the finals of the tournament, CM Punk runs in and says, you know what, you guys can't be the champion, I'm the champion. You want to win the belt, you have to go through me. They tell him to come back for a one-night deal, pay him whatever he wants to drop the belt to a new guy. Could even be Cena if they wait long enough. And there, you have another exciting match on television, you sell it another pay-per-view, and you have a new direction to go with your company after he's gone. That's what I would do.
Sounds like a plan.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view as a whole?
For what you came to see, if you're going to pay the money to see Cena versus CM, you're not going to be disappointed. Honestly, I thought it worked out quite fine, right? The match was solid, except for the lull that I mentioned, and everything else. Well, nothing like getting 8 guys and giving them a bunch of metal.
Yeah.
So, can't complain about that. And then all the other stuff is kind of me. So,
Background noise.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't do grade systems when it comes to pay-per-views or matches, because I really think it's insulting to give a number, tell you what you think about like pay-per-views or like animes or whatever. To me, you like it or you don't. This pay-per-view, I liked it. There was more good than bad, I think. What about you?
I agree. Yeah, there was good stuff.
All right,
Good
well,
time.
yeah, all in all, Money in the Bank 2011 was a good pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. The matches were good. The wrestlers were crisp, solid. There were botches, but there will always be botches. But they were, like, no one got crippled or killed, so that's a good thing. And all in all, I enjoyed it.
Works for me.
So there you have it, guys. That was That Wrestling Guy,
And I'm on Goon.
and we just gave you our thoughts on the 2011 Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Till next time, snap into it, guys.